I should probably be regretting my decisions at this point, but I fear I'm in too deep, and I'm only on book 3 out of 20. So, hi guys, welcome back to my book channel. I hope you're well. I know it's been a minute that I've done one of these videos. I'm always posting on my ASMR account, but I'm still working around how I want to navigate my book channel. And yeah, I've been like a bit all over the place with my reading recently, but something's happened. I've started down this rabbit hole that I need to talk about. And I need to share with you guys. So I decided to start reading the Zodiac Academy series, and I fear I love it. I love it. Now, I have known about this series for a while. I've heard about people starting it and just being like, yeah, it's totally not for me. I have read the first 3 books, and guys, this series to me feels like a guilty pleasure. I feel bad for spending so much time reading these books because I will admit they are not the best written, and I've read a lot better fantasy and romantasy out there with much more complex writing and world building, magic systems, character development. However, sometimes a book doesn't have to be 5 stars, sometimes it just has to be a good time, and I fear that's what this series is for me. So that's why I'm having a great time. I'm on book 3. I started this like a couple weeks ago and I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm thoroughly enjoying the twin dynamic, which I didn't think I would. So for those of you guys who don't know much about the Zodiac Academy series, it basically follows a pair of twins, Tori and Darcy, who are finally out of the foster care system. They've had a very tough time growing up. Their parents died when they were young, and they've been bouncing about in the foster care system throughout the majority of their life, and especially their last home. He only wanted them for the money that he was getting for having them. So they've only really had each other, and we get a little bit of, insight into their life, and very quickly we get introduced to some sort of fae guy who starts to tell them that they have this claim to a throne in this fae world, and they know nothing about this. They know nothing about magic or a fae world or anything to do with this. They have always lived in the mortal realm. They didn't think magic existed, blah blah blah. He tells them all about their birthright back in Solaria, I'm not too sure how you pronounce the name of the fae world, but they have this whole life that they didn't know about essentially, and this claim to the throne there, because their parents were actually fae and they were put in the mortal world for their own safety. Very complicated little backstory for them, but they decide to go there because they have nothing keeping them in the mortal realm. They literally have no money. They're living in a decrepit flat and sharing like a couch as both of their beds, etc, etc. They go to the academy and they start learning about all of their powers and going on this crazy journey. They start to realise though that it's not going to be very easy for them because there are these 4 heirs, all male, who have been filling in this kind of void. Their parents are now leading Solaria, and they are their heirs. So they are very protective about their claim to ruling, and they see the twins as a massive threat. So this does, book 1 and the rest of them, to be fair, have major bully themes. I'm not one to like shy away from that, but if people don't like that, then I completely understand why you would not be interested in this. The rivalry is intense, but I don't think it's as intense as book 1. Book 1 was like peak intensity, and then I feel like it definitely dials it down in book 2 and 3. Maybe not 3 actually, 3 it kind of goes a bit crazy. I have decided to go with a specific reading order that I saw through a Booktok creator. I'm going to put it up somewhere on the screen. And I have read the first 3 books, Zodiac 1, 2 and 3, and now I am going down a different kind of side story with different characters, doesn't follow the twins. So after reading books 1 to 3, I am now on the Ruthless Boys series, which is a short series of different characters, as I said, and it's 5 books long. I've just started book 1, and it's very different. It's almost jarringly different, but I am very intrigued. I've heard good things, and it's also why choose. Like, the main girl ends up with like multiple of these characters. I don't really know, but I wasn't expecting it to be why choose. So I decided to go all in, feet first. I'm gonna read all 20 books because I'm like an all or nothing gal. I really like digging deep into a series, and I do, despite the fact that this isn't like a top tier series for me. I've thoroughly enjoyed books 1 to 3, and I'm curious to see your guys' thoughts whether or not you decided to read the novellas or you regretted reading them. I'm curious because I see so many different opinions. I think on a series this big, I've never read a series this big. Throne of Glass is the biggest series I've ever read, and that broke me. I don't think this is going to be on the same level. Just feel it in my bones, you know. It's a guilty pleasure for me at the moment. I'm enjoying it, but it's kind of like when you're watching like reality TV, you know, it's like not really benefiting you, but it's enjoyable. So yeah, I have a long way to go, but I'm pretty sure that the final book, like I'm pretty sure it's out and it's completed. This series is completed. So that kind of made me want to just go all in and just read it all. I just want to read it all. And I'm pretty sure they're all on Kindle Unlimited, so that's even more reason for me to kind of just read them all. This is probably going to take me absolutely ages because these books are surprisingly long. I don't think any of them have been under 400 pages. So yeah, like fairly lengthy books. I will say the timeline in these books is really surprising. From 1 to 3 feels like a very short amount of time for such long books. Feels almost like time should be going a bit quicker, but I quite like that we get to really see every little thing that happens when they are joining this new world. They're learning about their magic. You get to really connect with the twins, and that's what I really liked about reading these first books. So I don't have any regrets at the moment to starting with book 1 to 3. We'll see as I go through, because I know I'm not reading in chronological order anymore, and that's usually the way I like to go. But for the emotional impact, I am intrigued about this one. It's also just super complex with all the novellas and side stories, so I didn't want to make it even more complicated than it already is by trying to like put my own spin on things. So I'm going with the reading order. Like I said, I'm going to stick with it. I am quite curious whether or not after reading Ruthless Boys, I'm going to feel a bit kind of less excited about the other novellas and other side stories. It feels like a lot, you know, it's a lot going on in here, and I feel like that's probably why I've not read this series yet. I do want to talk about as well. These are some of the cringiest books that I've ever read, but guys, it's quite entertaining. See if you just put the cringe aside and just kind of embrace it. If you embrace the cringe, you can really enjoy these books. I think that's probably why a lot of people don't vibe with these books, because they are quite cringe. But I saw another creator saying that these are 18-year-old girls. They are figuring out their life. There's bound to be a little bit of cringe, but the Fae book, puns like that, I do just have to like move on. I just have to move on. I'm pretty sure there's Ferrari as well, which is quite something. So if those don't make you really, really cringe out and you think you can look past those, I do think you can enjoy this series. Yeah, I don't mind it. There is one character that I really, really was confused by and did not like her in the first book, but she has fully grown on me and she's hilarious. If you know, you know. And yeah, don't judge her too quickly. You'll know if you start reading, you'll be like, oh, it's definitely that character. So thoughts on just finishing book 3. This is the first book, I'm just showing it for reference. No spoilers. I'm really, really excited to see where they take this series. I knew what the ending of season 3 was going to be. I predicted it and I was like quite proud of myself, but I think they made it quite obvious personally. I didn't think it was too much of a twist. I definitely saw that one coming, but I really, really like it. It feels exciting. It's kind of been left on a cliffhanger, and now I'm going into Ruthless Boys, which is a 5-part series, different characters, away from the twins, which is kind of stressing me out, and I've definitely been slower at reading this first book in Ruthless Boys just for the pure fact that I'm kind of missing Tori and Darcy and everyone else in the other world. Well, I think they're all in Solaria, just different parts. I've been pleasantly surprised with this series, and it's just been good entertainment. Like, I was reading this when I went on my trip to Portugal, and it was just really good, like, holiday reading. Especially on the plane, I was like hooked. I was really, really hooked. I don't think I've ever read a fantasy series that's had such an extensive set of fae. There's vampires, werewolves, Pegasus, dragons, so many like shapeshifter forms, griffins, etc. And I find that really, really cool. I also love that the twins are super powerful. I love that. In book 1, you really get to learn about their magic, and book 1 to 3 is really them coming into their magic and finding themselves because they are so untrained compared to everyone else. So it's quite refreshing. But I just am quite addicted, and I just feel like I need to talk about it. So honestly, when I first finished book 3, The Awakening of Zodiac Academy, and started reading Ruthless Boys, I was a bit hesitant because it's such a major switch up. You're just kind of settling into Zodiac Academy, you're just getting really fond of the twins and their dynamics with everyone, you're getting settled into their environment, their magic, these characters, then you're kind of ripping yourself away from it and going to a whole different place. Ruthless Boys is a prequel to Zodiac Academy, and it follows a girl called Elise and also some of the most powerful people in this. It's a different academy to Zodiac. It's called Aurora Academy, and Aurora is like how do I say it nicely? The worst? I don't want to just say the worst. It's like the worst academy. You know, it's not very highly rated. There's a lot of gang and drug problems going on in this area of Solaria. Yeah, it's a very different environment from Zodiac Academy, which I don't think I fully appreciated how like privileged and how this is like a school for the elites, Zodiac Academy, which is so funny because the twins have never even used magic before. They've come from the mortal world and they're just like shoved into this academy that is built for the best of the best. Kind of crazy. But when I first started reading, I was like, oh, I really don't think I'm going to be able to get into this without, you know, the Zodiac Academy, these characters that I've come to really connect with. But guys, please stick with it. Stick with it. I'm so glad also that I didn't read this before reading Zodiac Academy. I feel like I've just like slipped into this writing style and the vibes very easily. I feel like Zodiac Academy does such a good job at kind of giving you an introduction to the world of Solaria and the magic and all of the different orders, etc., because you're entering following the twins who are new to the Fae realm and have lived in the mortal realm their full lives. So you're kind of on that journey of them discovering their magic, discovering who they are and how they fit into this world and who everyone else is in this world, blah blah blah. I feel like it's just a really good introduction to get, like, dip your toes in and get a feel for the series. I feel like if you start with Ruthless Boys, it is just going to feel like a completely different story. It doesn't follow anyone. There is a little bit of character crossover, but it's very, very minimal. Yeah, I feel like it's not a good way, in my opinion, to start the series. So I'm happy at the moment with how I've been reading, how my reading order is going. So I've read Zodiac Academy 1 to 3. And I'm now reading Ruthless Boys and I'm on book 4 out of 5 before I go back and read book 4 of Zodiac Academy. And I'm buzzing. I'm actually so excited that everything's going the way it is. This is, as I said, a prequel, so there is like a slight bit of character crossover, but as I said, it's Aurora Academy, so it's a very different environment, it's a different school with different people. The same characters don't coexist, so it's like different circumstances and kind of rare circumstances. But guys, this has been an emotional roller coaster. Like, there is very emotional elements to Zodiac Academy 1 through 3, especially with the bullying trope, but this has a very different vibe. So Ruthless Boys follows Elise, who is currently grieving her brother's death. Her brother, who went to Aurora Academy. His name is Gareth, and he is a very key part of this whole, all 5 books, I assume, because I'm on book 4 and I'm still so confused about so many elements of this book. It's crazy. And I think these books are great, but they're very slow paced. If you like the pacing of Zodiac Academy 1 to 3, I think you'll be able to deal with the pacing of Ruthless Boys. This isn't super fast paced. I mean, even 1 through 3, it is just like, it's almost like you're going day by day through with the twins, you know? And I feel like that is very similar in Ruthless Boys. These are chunky, long books. These are thick. And I feel like it's very slow progress. This is basically just one giant book, you know? There are kind of like cliffhangers and major things that happen throughout each book, obviously, but there is one main plot, which is Elise trying to find out who murdered her brother. He was supposedly killed by an overdose, but Elise really doesn't believe that. She kind of tried to get the police to look more into his death, and they really just brushed it over because Aurora Academy is riddled with gangs and drugs and a lot of bad things, dangerous people. There's a lot going on in this academy, that a lot of things that do happen, a lot of the crimes and murders that happen are kind of just swept under the rug. So she gets herself enrolled in Aurora and joins in search of her brother's murderer. So that's your main overview. So Elise gets a lead before she gets enrolled. She knows that it's one of the kings in Aurora Academy that is linked to her brother's death, and that is why she goes to Aurora and sets her sights on the 4 kings. There are these very strong Fae males who are kind of at the top of the hierarchy and power, strength-wise, in Aurora Academy, 2 of which are the main gang leaders. So Elise knows that she has to somehow get some information from these men, so she kind of wiggles her way into situations and she starts to create friendships with some of them, and yeah, that's like part of her whole investigation. I'm not going to say too much from there because there is so many like complexities to this storyline that even I've still not like discovered half of it, but I'm currently like 10% into book 4 and I have not been able to put these books down. Like, they are so addictive, they're so addictive, and I really love how heartbreaking I love Elisa's character. Like, you are gonna miss the twins when you start with Ruthless Boys, but you should not fret. You should not fret about missing the twins, because once you meet Elise and once you fall in love with Elise, you're not gonna miss the twins. Like, I genuinely haven't been missing Tori and Darcy, and that's like quite bad, but I don't know, Elise is just she's such a badass, she's such a powerhouse. I love her to bits, and there's like a lot of heartbreaking things that you find out about her, and you kind of follow her through her path of grief as well, and kind of trying to get revenge for her brother and just get some like sort of closure, while she's trying to like hide her identity. It's very complicated, and I don't know, I just feel for her. Elise is also a vampire, and all of the other kings are different orders. So there's a lion, there's a basilisk, and a harpy, also a dragon. So that's what all the kings are, and I liked that it delved into like all these different orders a bit more as well, because I don't think it was focused as much in Zodiac Academy because the twins didn't have an order. So I am super happy with my reading order at the minute. I'm loving Ruthless Boys, and I'm urging anyone who's struggling with, should I start this series, or like I think it's too long, honestly, like just dive in. I feel like a lot of people are hesitant because of the length, and feel free to like, I took so long to read Throne of Glass, so long, but I feel like Zodiac Academy is a much more accessible type of fantasy. It's not too complex, it's not overly complicated, like you can very easily get involved in the world and the magic system. So I feel like you could sit back and maybe read other books and then come back to this series. And I also really don't want people to miss out on these like prequels or novellas. Obviously this is my first one of the prequels or the novellas, etc., the side stories. As you know, you could just read Zodiac Academy. I think it's like maybe 12 books, 10 or 12 books for just Zodiac Academy. But I feel like if you're going to commit to a series this big, you may as well just commit the full way. That's my view, is that I feel like a book series this big, you just need to jump with both feet, and like that's what I'm doing. I'm going all in. I'm going to read however many books it is, I don't know, like over 20 I think. I'm going to read them all. But I completely understand why people would be hesitant. There's not a lot of time. But I just want to urge you that these are really fast reads, and I wouldn't even say I'm like an overly fast reader, but I've literally been devouring these because I feel like they are a very easy read. I said earlier in the video that the writing style isn't great. I mean, it is. It's a great time. I'm having a great time with these books, but do I think they're not Throne of Glass level in my eyes? But I think character-wise, I am gonna have a very similar impact because of the length of the series, because of how many characters and how extensive this world is. I think I'm gonna have a very similar, like, I'm gonna grieve these characters after I'm finished this series, and dare I say I'm looking forward to that. I was literally like a lost soul. I literally felt like I lost people in my life when I finished Throne of Glass, and I feel like I'm going to be similar when I finish this. And I know that sounds crazy that I'm actually looking forward to being sad about that, but guys, I've not felt anything as strongly as I felt when I finished Throne of Glass, and like since I finished it. I've not had a book compare. So the fact I'm really into this series, I'm really into the characters, I'm excited to see where the plot goes and what happens to all of my characters. I'm excited for it all, and I think that says a lot. So I just want everyone to open up their eyes to the world of possibilities. And as long as you can look past the fae, like, cringe, because there is, especially in the Ruthless Boys, it continues. There's too many things, references, like a cafeteria, or like the fae flu. Everything is added fae, and I don't think that needed to be a thing, but I think you can overlook the little cringe to enjoy the rest of the series, to be honest. Like, it's a good time, it's a really good time, and I'd be missing out on so much fun and also so much heartbreak and emotional turmoil if I had put the books down when I started reading Zodiac Academy, just because they were a little bit cringe at points. You know what? Just embrace it, and you'll have a great time. I'm definitely going to be updating you guys because this is my new addiction. Like, this is a new addiction. I also love, I'm reading all of them on my Kindle. I don't know if I mentioned that. This isn't a Kindle, it's an iPad, but I have Kindle Unlimited on my iPad. And this is my holy grail to reading. I would literally be lost without Kindle Unlimited. No, this is not an ad. This is just like pure passion and devotion. I absolutely adore Kindle Unlimited, and I'm pretty sure this in like entire series, which is crazy, like over 20 books, all on Kindle Unlimited. Crazy. I'm saving a lot of money by not buying the whole series, just to like maybe not read it. So if you are wanting to read this series, I would suggest, if you've not already got Kindle Unlimited, get it. Get involved, get on the party, because then you could read like the first book and hate it. I hope you don't. But if you do hate it, then you can just read something else. You know, you don't need to buy the whole series or even buy one book. How did it die? I've literally been holding my iPad this whole time and it's dead. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I've maybe convinced some of you to join in with the Zodiac Academy hype. I know I feel like really far behind on this series. I feel like a lot of people have been involved with this for so long, but I don't know. I feel like I'd heard so many mixed reviews that I kind of like turned away from it for a while, and then my curiosity just got too good to ignore. And here I am, absolutely addicted. I don't really know too much else about the story, obviously. I'm going in completely blind, and I love that. I really, really love that. So I would suggest not looking up anything, and when you are researching, make sure you're researching spoiler-free research. Please, spoiler-free research, because there's so many crossovers and so many prequels, and yeah, I think, at least from what I understand, I'm going in quite a spoiler-free route, where the prequels and the Zodiac Academy are set up so that you don't get any like premature scenarios. I know that one of the characters in Ruthless Boys, his ending is ruined if you read Zodiac Academy 4 before reading the Ruthless Boys, so that is why I am really, really excited that I stuck with Ruthless Boys and didn't just go back to the twins, because that was the easiest thing to do. I also think Zodiac Academy 3 leaves off on like enough of a cliffhanger, but not enough of a cliffhanger. Like, it's the perfect amount of I'm curious and I need to know what happens afterwards, but like it's tied up to a good enough extent that I can go remove myself from the twins and go back in time to the prequel with Ruthless Boys. So I urge everyone to really give it a chance, and I think you'll love it. I genuinely think you will love this. I think you'll love this series. I hate playing favourites, but I kind of prefer the kings in this to the heirs in Zodiac Academy. Like, I don't know if it's just because I've read more about them. I've heard from their point of views more. The Zodiac boys are bullies, you know, we know their like worst sides. Not that I don't like the heirs. I have my soft spots for Caleb and Darius. I like them, but I just don't know if I've spent more time in like the king's heads and I've just connected to them more. Maybe I'll feel a bit differently once I keep reading on Zodiac Academy. But right now, maybe it's because I'm like right in this right now, but I love the Kings. I love the Kings. I think they are all such good characters and they all bring out like a different element to the story. Oh, it's just so good. It is so, so good. And it's really not making me miss the Heirs at all, which is quite nice. It's quite nice. But I know I'm just going to be heartbroken when I need to finish this, because I've only got 2 books left of Ruthless Boys and then I'm back to Zodiac. So I'm trying not to think about that too much, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm definitely going to be keeping you guys updated with my journey through Zodiac Academy and what I think of my reading order. I would love to hear down below if you guys have read Zodiac Academy, if you're reading Zodiac Academy, if you want to read, it's been on your TBR for a while, or whatever reservations you have about it. And yeah, let's have a little chat, because I don't have anyone else in my life that is reading or has read these books, so I have no one else to talk to about all of this going on. I'm just itching to talk about this. These books are so good. They're so, so good. And I just need to put as many people on them as possible. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.